Afternoon, folks. Hope you're all well. I'll sort this out a bit. Yeah. Quick hobby update, so to speak. Not a lot of hobby taking place. I know that one of my hobbies seems to have turned into talking about my health problems. And it gets me down a little bit. Don't really enjoy talking about that much, but it affects my hobby. So here we go. Had an operation just over a week ago on my right eye. Did have 3 stitches in at the time. One's been taken out since. Won't get into too much details about the operation because it didn't go as planned. It was quite horrific, to tell the truth. Glad it's over now. The pain's eased and everything, and it's all on track. The operation itself went well. My eye pressure hadn't been dropping with the eye drops and tablets I've been taking, and it needed an operation. Basically, to say what side I have left in my right eye. My left eye is pretty much, it's not great. I've got like a grey band going across the centre of my eye, is the best way to describe it. And I can't see through that grey band. And the eyesight to the top and the bottom is a little bit misty. My right eye at the moment is very, very misty, very foggy eyesight in general, which has stopped me doing any kind of hobby really. I ordered some of these that came just after my operation, and I tried putting one together. However, I think I've messed up on the head. I can't really tell yet. I don't know if you can even see that. The original head, this is a commander from the command frame, the command sprue in that box, and I went and dropped his head. God knows where it is. I probably couldn't see it if I could see properly, if that makes sense, in this carpet. Mr. Hoover, Henry will get him later on sometime. I think he did the arms and the cloak alright, but the rest of them I'm going to put on hold until I can see better, hopefully. Because hopefully this fogginess will clear. I'm taking eye drops multiple times a day, and I believe that's what's making my eyesight foggy, as well as, like I say, with 2 stitches left in my eyeball, which, it feels like I've got 2 stitches in my eyeball. That's what it feels like. You can kind of imagine it scraping on the inside of my head, and yeah, it's not nice at all, but it's a means to an end. Hopefully it's all going to work out. Like I say, the doctor says everything's working fine, the eye pressure's dropping. Should be okay, I think. Fingers crossed. Yeah. So yes, wargaming in general. I tried painting some stuff. Can you see which way the sky up is? I tried doing a bit of painting on these guys. Started painting shoes and the clothing, green clothing. Went for some dark brown, actually wildwood, the contrast paint for the shoes. Was it Straight and Scorpion? I won't be able to see this paint pot, but I think, can't see what it says. I think this is in the position where Strike and Scorpion green should be. That's what I think. I'm pretty sure that's what painted the clothing. We're gonna have white armor, bronze helmets, and whatever. Eventually, and that's the command unit of cavalry for my Persians, for Line Rampant, other wargaming as well, historical wargaming, Warhammer historical battle kind of thing. I haven't done any more work to, I nearly broke them there, to the Spearman, 15mm Spearman, because it's 15mm, I can't even bloody see. Yeah, I realised that this Titan here, which is going to be a Chaos Titan, it had an Imperial Aquila on the top there. Tried scraping it off, and I sliced my thumb. So yeah, I've basically said no to hobbying at the moment. The English Civil War epic range. I've done the sprues. I've clipped off all of the connecting injection ports on the sprues that connected to the soldiers, to the miniatures themselves, and I've kept the sprues attached to the. Sorry, I've kept each sleeve, well, each row of miniatures and each individual miniature, kept them attached to the sprue by the basin sprue, so I can just spray the whole sprue basically, with with some Wraithlord spray. I did get another can, but like I say, I still haven't sprayed anything up yet because my eyesight, I didn't want to get anything in my eye basically. I do have like an eye patch kind of thing, so I might spray them up at a later date. That's the limit of my hobbying with regards, miniatures and stuff like that. Can't paint, can't put things together. I will probably get away with spraying stuff within maybe a week or so. I'll give it a go. But other than that, yeah, that's the limit of my hobbying at the moment with regard to that. Gardening wise, I might do a little video kind of thing showing what's in my garden at the moment. It's looking alright. Next week I'm going to buy some more compost, maybe some more like bedding plants to put in some pots I've got for climbers. The climbers are fairly small at the moment, so the rest of the top of the pot will be quite bare. So I'll put something in there just for this year to give it a bit of colour. And next year hopefully the climber will be much bigger, and I won't need to do that. Like I say, I'll make a little video on that maybe at the time when I put those pots up. Got the pots, got the plants, just need the soil. Had the dog out for a couple of little walks, not very far. Again, eye wise, I need to put certain eye drops in certain times a day. I'd say roughly it's with my right eye, it's one eye drop every 40 minutes or so. I'm due one in about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or my alarm will come up on my phone. It'll be silent because I'm recording, but I'll have to lean in and turn off. You'll see that soon. Yeah, a lot of hobby is put on hold. I can't read particularly well. I can kind of see if I zoom in on my laptop, and I've got a larger keypad for blind people. Whip that out and I need to type something, but even then it's the symbols on the keys are fairly blurry. I can kind of get my way around it, typing, but I do make typos, and I'm not a massive fan of just leaving them kind of thing, because I can do better. Yeah, not a great deal going on. I've been watching a lot of sport. Like I say, very blurry eyesight, but I can kind of see what's going on telly, so I've been watching a lot of stuff. The Ice Hockey World Championships are going on right now. Very entertaining games so far. I've watched couple of wipeouts, but yeah, by and large, France are doing quite well. Big up them. Great Britain were relegated from the top pool last year. They got promoted this year. They played on home ice. Always an advantage, but yeah, they did really well. They and Poland are promoted. Italy failed to get promoted. Italy were favourites for that group really. They finished third, but yeah, Great Britain and Poland next year will be playing alongside the likes of Canada, Sweden, Finland, the top dogs. Yeah, the World Championships in ice hockey played every year, and you get promotion and relegation between. There's a top pool of 16 teams, and their tournament works out. Those 16 are split into two different leagues groups of 8 teams, and those 8 teams play each other once, so that's 7 games each. The top 4 teams go through to the last 8 knockout tournament, and then obviously the semis and then the final. The bottom team in each group, so that's 2 teams, they get relegated to it's called Division 1A. That's what Great Britain were in. They were relegated last season. They won it this season. So next season now we're playing, like I said, the top dogs. And within the World Championships, even like the top pool, you've got, you know, should we say Canada, Sweden, USA, Finland. You know, Russia, when they're there, they've been kicked out because of the war in Ukraine, Russia and Belarus. So they're not involved anymore. But you've got like the top teams. And they're the teams who go there every year, and they will battle for the gold medal, the you know, first place, win the final. You know, that's their goal kind of thing. Then you've got teams like, well, you've got like Switzerland, who are kind of on their own because they could battle for first place, but they more than likely go there hoping to get into the last 8. Along with Germany, I would say, and Latvia. Those teams are also, you know, battling for that top 8, top 4 finish in the group, quarter-final place. Then yeah, there's my alarm for. Hit it without turning anything off. Yeah, dismissed it. It'll go off again in the quarter of an hour. So yeah, there's those teams battling top 4 for the top 4 places, and then you have teams who are battling against relegation. So you've got countries like before mentioned France, Kazakhstan, Slovenia. I missed out Slovakia earlier on. They're always, you know, top 4 or goal place as well. With, I'd say, they're on level with Switzerland, I would say, but more towards goal place. Sorry, Slovakians. Or the Czechs as well. Czechia, as they're called. Yeah. Should really start again about this, but yeah, they're always a decent team. They're always going for gold. I missed anyone else. Yeah, so the teams battling against relegation, you know, your France's, Kazakhstan, Slovenia, Norway, kind of. Norway and Denmark you know, they all seem to stay in, but they don't often qualify for the top 8. Norway and Denmark. Yeah, and then you've got, you know, Great Britain would be in that bracket as well of, you know, battling against relegation, which is fairly new, quite frankly. I mean, 5 years ago, I think Great Britain were in Division 1B, which is the one below the one they've just been promoted. They were in that for a couple of years. So Great Britain have never ever had it really, that's a lie, sorry, for a long, nearly 100 years actually. In 1938, 38 or 36, oh, it's going to kill me. Great Britain were the best team in the world. Yeah, this was before World War II, before we had lots of Canadian airmen over here and US airmen and soldiers who would have, you know, filled out British ice hockey teams. So before even that happened, Great Britain, they are still the only team to win the World Championships, Olympic gold, and the European Championships, all in one calendar year. They're the only team to do that ever, which is remarkable when you've got, you know, Russia, Finland, Sweden, those kind of countries. They've never done it. Great Britain has. Back in the 1930s, yeah, a long time ago. Great Britain flirted with Pool A, which, like, the top division sometimes gets called Pool A. In the 90s, I think it was mid-90s, they got promoted once and relegated straight back down. And now, the last couple of years, they've been kind of here and there, up and down, kind of relegation, promotion kind of thing. So fingers crossed they can stay in the top flight for, you know, a couple of years. They managed to stay in the top flight about 3 or 4 years ago. They beat France in a final, like a last round robin game, to stay in the league. And I think France got relegated, and then France got promoted back up. And yeah, it's, you know, comes every year, the World Championships, and I love it because it's a great competition. So yeah, that's been going on. Been watching that. We're still, teams have played about 4 games in the group stages. Dog catching flies with that. So yeah, been watching that. Ice hockey, NHL. We're well into the playoffs now. It's the conference finals. Been watching that on and off kind of thing. I always really get involved in the start of the playoffs. I stay up for about maybe 3 or 4 nights, watching a couple of games a night, and then kind of peters off, and I'll watch maybe a game a week or something like that, and it's petered off. But I did, like I say, I've been watching the World Championships quite a bit, so I've been watching a lot of ice hockey still. A bit of a soft spot for the Winnipeg Jets for various reasons. They got knocked out in the first round. But yeah, I watched a couple of the Rangers and Devils games. The first 2 games, New York Rangers beat the Devils in the Devils Stadium, New Jersey Devils Stadium arena. Sorry, beat them 5-1 in the first 2 games, both of them 5-1, and I was sitting there thinking, well, it's a bit of a one-sided contest. It's just Rangers are just gonna romp away with it. When they go back to New York, they play 2 games in New York. They're bound to win those 2 games comfortably, probably 5-6-0 or something. Yeah, the New Jersey Devils came back, didn't they, and knocked out the Rangers, and the Devils advanced. But yeah, that's the Stanley Cup for you. It's not like other tournaments like football tournaments where it's just a single elimination knockout. You play a best of 7 games in those playoffs, in the NHL playoffs. It's different. I enjoy it, but I also enjoy the single elimination games that you get in like the FA Cup and whatever. And speaking of playoffs, I've been watching the football playoffs as well, because in England, obviously, you've got the Premier League is still going on. The next few leagues below them, the top couple of teams get promoted automatically, and then you have like 4 teams, generally 4 teams. I think in the National League they have 6 teams now in the playoffs. But in the Football League, it's still the 4 teams who go into two leg semis and then a final. And in the Championship, which is the tier down from the Premier League, Middlesbrough and Sunderland got to the playoff semi-finals. Sunderland unfortunately got beat by Luton Town. Could have maybe had a penalty, Sunderland, in the second leg. Could have made things different, interesting. But yeah, it was a brilliant effort from Sunderland. I'm a Newcastle United fan, so I shouldn't really be saying this, but I'm more of a Northeast, a fan of the Northeast in general, as well as not just sport. I like to see all Northeast teams, and the players do well, So yeah, unlucky Sunderland, really, really unlucky. You did fantastic getting to the semis, it has to be said. It's a point you can build on now for the future. Get some better players, perhaps. Get a bit more funding if you can. And as a Newcastle fan, I'd love to see Sunderland and Borough in the Premier League again. But it won't be next season, unfortunately, because also Borough lost their semi-final very tightly against Coventry City. How could I forget that? I lived in Coventry for a little bit. I did like Coventry when I lived there. I didn't go to any of the football games, went to a few of the ice hockey games. Good and bad memories of Coventry overall. So I'd rather see Coventry get up now rather than Luton Town. Soft spot for Coventry maybe a little bit. But yeah, my nephew's a huge Borough fan. He's a season ticket holder. He and my brother-in-law, his stepfather, go to watch the games, Chris. And yeah, they were, I phoned my sister up, Vicky, the day after, yesterday, asking if my nephew was alright, and she was like, yeah, he was alright. Chris was much worse. I was like, oh, bless him. So yeah, unlucky to Borough as well. They really should have went up automatic. Two teams that went up, Burnley and Sheffield United. For me, they've been in the Premier League on and off the last few years. They play a very, very dull football when they're in the Premier League. Safe football, you could say. Like I say, I'm a Newcastle fan. Until we got a lot of the best investment in the world actually, late last season. We usually played fairly dull football. Under Benitez, it was very dull, it was passionless basically. Under Bruce, now and again we go for it. We play the big teams. We even beat Man City once under Bruce. Um, it's the way it is sometimes when you don't have the finances, you don't have the players, you have to play dull football, safe football. But for me, Sheffield United and Burnley and teams like Stoke and West Brom as well, when they win the Premier League, even when they were playing like themselves, the other teams who played that way, they were just dull, really dull. So I'm hoping Vincent Company has switched that with Burnley. I've seen them in the Championship a couple of times. Obviously, they won the Championship at a canter, really. So hopefully when they get in the Premier League, they play with a bit more passion, a bit more flair. But I can't see Sheffield United doing that. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how next year goes. Newcastle at the moment just beat Brighton last night. Just hammered Brighton last night, really. Brighton had a spell. Decent play in the second half. But yeah, Newcastle beat them 4-1. Could have been a little bit more. Especially the last 10 minutes. We just went mental, really. Made a couple of subs. And it really, really went well. A couple of Brighton players a little bit dirty. And I will say, as a Newcastle fan, I'm not the biggest fan of Bruno Guimaraes. Yeah, he makes his mouth go a lot. He dives a fair bit. He's not the kind of player I like. He's certainly not the worst at it. I'd say the worst at it right now is a tie between Neymar and Bruno Fernandes for Man United. God, I can't. The pair of them I hate with a passion. Really, really do. So yeah, Newcastle battling for the top 4 places to play in next year's Champions League. Newcastle's win, it's a big, big step. We also play. We've got 2 games left. I think Man United have 3 games left. Liverpool's got 2 games left. We are now 4 points ahead of Liverpool. Or could it be more than that? No, we are 4 points ahead of Liverpool. We've played the same amount of games. So Liverpool have 2 fairly easy games they should win. Man United have 3 fairly easy games. They should win all 3, even if they get 7 points. That'll do them quite well. Newcastle's got 2 games left. We play Leicester, who are battling for their lives at the bottom of the table. Second off bottom at the moment. They need points desperately, but they've been soulless for ages. There's just nothing about them. They've apparently got a great player called James Maddison who gets linked with Newcastle quite a lot. For me, he's not the kind of player Newcastle want. He's greedy a lot. You can see it in his play. You can see it the way he acts with his teammates. For me, he's a kind of player who, might do well at a team like Man City or Liverpool, someone like that. But I wouldn't want to see that kind of player at Newcastle, who I think would disrupt the team ethics and the team play, the teamwork. I just don't think he's the right kind of fit. Flies down my head in as well, Doug. Yeah. put me off the camera. Yeah. So yeah, James Maddison is a no for me, Newcastle. I think Newcastle are at the stage where they need to make like top signings, the Mbappe's kind of thing, and they need to be going for that kind of level. We've done amazingly well with players who I'm not going to say nobody kind of players because they were well thought of before, and players like Dan Burn, Sven Botman, Bruno Guimaraes kind of came out of nowhere. I'd never really heard of him. Joelinton was obviously there beforehand. Willock came in, did exceptionally well on loan, and then we signed him full time. And he kind of retreated into himself when we signed him full time. I don't know whether he thought, oh, that's mission accomplished. I'm at a team. I'm going to get regular football now. And he took his foot off the pedal a little bit. But he's now starting to come back into what he was originally when he signed. He's a fantastic player. Really excited. He's young as well. Really excited for him in the future. I like Almiron as a player. He had a bit of argy-bargy last night with a Paraguayan youngster on the opposite team. It was NC Sco he's called. Yeah, I've never really seen that side of Almiron. He's always, happy chappy smile away, but there's another half one already. Should have had an eye drop. Yeah, yes, it was quite a decent game last night for various reasons. You could see the pressure Newcastle were under kind of, but they absolutely blitzed Brighton. First 20 minutes, last 10 minutes, yeah, absolutely annihilated them really. So yeah, Newcastle looking good for the Champions League. Play Leicester, then play Chelsea away, the last game of the season. Chelsea is a roll of the dice really for me. Chelsea have nothing to play for other than pride, and I don't think I don't think all of the players are really bothered about that. Quite frankly, I don't think they've been for decades. Chelsea, they've never been that kind of team. The John Terrys and the Frank Lampards, might talk a good game, especially on the pitch, making the mouth go. But yeah, I've played with players like that, and 99 times out of 100, they don't even talk sense. They're just gobshites. But yeah, they still won championships and that with them. But yeah, this season Chelsea have been where they used to be, mid-table kind of team. A couple of flash players, but nothing too special, and that's what they've been this year. Now and again they'll turn it on. More often than not, no. Arsenal's had a fantastic season, even though they've pretty much lost the league now to Man City, unstoppable. Erling Haaland, fantastic signing. Did amazing with Dortmund. That's never. I mean, look at Joelinton, did amazing with Hoffenheim, and then came to Newcastle. And as we said, he was terrible as a striker, terrible as a forward for the first season he was here, season and a half under Bruce. Started turning around, became a brilliant midfield player. He's now, I would say, definitely probably the best midfield player we've got. Breaks up play, he can pass, and he can also score as well. Gets the odd goal now and again. Yeah, that brilliant. Yeah, and yes, I do call him Uncle Joe. And when we first signed him, yes, my mum did wonder if he was a relation. I had to explain to her that Joelinton is his full name, kind of thing. Well, what the Brazilians do. The Brazilians often have about 5 different, quite lengthy names. Like Pelé, he had like 4 names, 4 different parts to his name. He's called Pelé, and Joelinton's just called Joelinton, and Ronaldinho, players like that. Or Ronaldo as well, the old one. Likewise. So yeah, Newcastle looking good. I think Man United's had a good season as well. Not a massive fan of the manager. I think he talks a lot of bollocks. He's a bit like, well, can see he's a bit like Klopp, but no one's like Klopp. Klopp talks a lot of bollocks, and yeah, not a fan of Scousers in general. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed Liverpool finish 5th, don't get in the Champions League, and also Everton get relegated. So that'd be a perfect season for me at the moment. Yeah, Scousers. Yeah, I think yeah. Which is a shame because Liverpool's a brilliant place to go, and I was due to go there last weekend. Obviously I wouldn't have been able to because of my eye, but the venue also changed. I was supposed to go there looking for ghosts. I mentioned this in the previous video. The venue changed the date of the event run by Veritas, Rob Pike. Wasn't Rob's fault, wasn't Veritas's fault. The venue changed the event date with very short notice, in my opinion, because the event was supposed to take place the same night as Eurovision. So the event has thought, well, you know, we'll probably get more punters during the door because there'll be a lot more people here for Eurovision. And I don't think it worked out that well. I don't think Liverpool, when I've looked online, I don't think Liverpool had that many extra tourists visiting the city on that weekend. Especially people who would visit a place like the Williamson Tunnels. More people who, you know, visit the Cavern Club or something like that and have a drink and a dance. Can't really do that at Williamson Tunnels. Well, you probably could. There's a business idea. Make a bit of money. Yeah, venue changed the date. I couldn't make the other date before my operation. I was on the 27th. They changed it to. I was going to go for a couple of drinks with a couple of mates down Durham. Didn't happen. It's not going to happen. Sorry. You know, I've got to take an eye drop every 40 minutes or so. I'm due one. I was due one about 5 minutes ago. I should have taken it really. I'm making this. I'll do it straight after I've done this. I can't really go anywhere for too long because one of my eye drops I've got to keep in the fridge to keep it cold. In the next couple of weeks, the amount of eye drops I take reduces each week or each fortnight maybe. So in a couple of weeks, I might go somewhere for a day or something. I was hoping to go somewhere on my birthday, which is next Monday, the 29th. I don't know. I might still do. I was thinking about Whitby, but when I looked into it, it was a pain in the ass to get there. And you know, I wouldn't mind going somewhere for like a full day out. It would mean not taking one of my eye drops anyway. The one I have to keep in the fridge, I'd just leave it home, obviously. Or I'll take it in the morning, take it when I get back, and you know. Don't really fancy staying overnight anyway. Don't really have the money. Yeah, it's a tricky one at the moment. I'm really bored at home. That's the main thing. Like I say, I can't do hobby and I can't really read that well. I can kind of get on Facebook. I can kind of watch TV. So I've been watching a lot of YouTube, and like I say, I've been watching the ice hockey that's on YouTube, on Viaplay. Got a subscription for that. Yeah, I've got subscriptions for Disney, Netflix. I did have BT Sport, but I've been that. Got rid of that BT Sport one because basically I was watching more Man United games at my parents than I was watching Newcastle games at home. So I just got rid of that. Paid 30 quid a month to watch Bruno Fernandes cheat. So yeah, like I say, I've been watching a lot on TV, various YouTube subscriptions, which I think I'm going to make a separate video about a response to a video I saw. Yeah, definitely be a different video because it's totally off base with all this hobby update kind of thing. Been off a couple of short walks with the dog, really just around Cockney Hill area, Fishbound. Speaking of Cockney Hill, I nearly got robbed the day after my operation. I went to the local post office just for some snacks. Bought I bought a sandwich, some milk, packet of crisps and a chocolate bar, like a large £1.25 chocolate bar kind of thing. And priced it all up, and it came to a little bit higher than I thought it was going to when I priced it up in my head. So anyway, yeah, I asked for the receipt as well, and he kind of reacted to that and gave me the receipt. And I tried having a look at the receipt in the shop because I was sure I was sure when he was scanning stuff, he'd scanned the chocolate bar twice. But I couldn't see the receipt properly until I got home and I zoomed in on my phone, and the bastard had double charged me for the chocolate bar. I think I had an eye patch on at the time protecting my eye, and my left eye wasn't that good, and I had my guide stick with me. And obviously when I was picking stuff up to see what it was, I was having to hold it very, very close to my eye. So he would have seen me doing that. He would have known my eyesight was really, really bad. And I think he's just tried to, rob me, basically. I mean, it's only £1.25, it's only a chocolate bar, but you just don't fucking do that, do you? You know what I mean? I've been in that shop before where I've seen old people in the queue in front of me, and they've complained of a similar thing, like, oh, I didn't think it was that much, or you've charged me twice for this kind of thing. And I've stood in the queue and I've thought, I wonder if they've done that on purpose, because it's always been an old person. Well, I say always, I've seen it twice. Seen it happen twice. And I've also bought things which have been like 2 for £1 kind of thing. It's said on the bottle or on the package, 2 for £1, 2 for £2 or whatever, or 3 for £4. No. You get to the front and they charge you individually for it, and they kind of make out, oh, I didn't understand that, because it's always like an Asian person who's, well, 99% it's an Asian Persian, and it's always a different person as well when I'm in there. I say always. There's one fella who's like, I think he runs the place. There's an oldish woman who works there with black curly hair. She's there quite a bit. I think she's probably worked there for decades, you know what I mean? But the other members of staff, they change every week or two. Is it like a front for some kind of human trafficking kind of thing, where they get people to work in there, the people get paid maybe £1 an hour, and the person who's running it gives a couple of quid an hour to the person who's providing these people for slave labour, really, isn't it? That has crossed my mind. There's a couple of shops nearby where that kind of thing happens as well. There's a 10-year-old kid works in the chicken shop just over the road. I mean, obviously he's the son of whoever runs the place, or son of someone who works there. But you don't have 10-year-olds serving people, do you? It's not in Britain, not in 2023. So yeah, I believe I was almost robbed. I say almost because when I got back home, looked at the receipt, I was fucking fuming, absolutely blue in the face fuming. So I marched back around there, still had my eye patch on, barely see anything. Went back around there, went into the shop. Like I say, it's a post office as well. So I don't know if maybe I should complain to like the post office, you know what I mean, or the council or something. Went in there and I went to where the chocolate bars were, got a chocolate bar off the shelf, put it in my pocket, and I threw the receipt at the fella, and I said something along the lines of, I've already paid for this, you robbing bastard. Walked out the shop. He kind of followed me out. He stood in the doorway, and he said, he didn't shout at me or anything, he just said, don't you come back here. And I turned around. I kind of just lost it for a few seconds, and I was like, come back here. Why the fuck would I come back here to be robbed by you? Do you think you can get away with robbing people just because they can't see the receipts properly? You thieving cunt. By the time I said cunt, you actually closed the door and gone back in. But yeah, proper top me. If you know me, you know I can shout, and the windows were rattling when I shouted at this fella. And yeah, walked away kind of thing, and went back home, and yeah, I had 2 chocolate bars. Never been back since. I probably won't go back, in truth, ever. And I'll probably avoid the other. There's a corner shop over the road, Gills. I don't know if they're run by the same fella, same family, same people. I know Bishop Berto's, which is a takeaway place, do kebabs and pizzas and that. There's a chicken shop right across the road. They're both run by the same family, same fella, same people. I don't know if the whole mini empire kind of thing, that part of Cocknell is run by them. You know, I do know that. Well, I do know the things about the people who run Bishop Burrows. You know, it's just ridiculous. You know, I'm still absolutely fuming about it. But yeah, robbing bastards, absolute robbing bastards. And I'm sorry for all the language I've just used. When you're angry, and that's what what I said to them, and because that's what happened. But yeah, proper fuming. You know, it is what it is. I'll leave it now. Like I say, he might have made a mistake. You know, he might have charged me for 2 chocolate bars, or he's not charged me for the sandwich we scanned the chocolate bars twice or something. That kind of thing's been clicking in my head the last couple of days. But you know, it's like I say, I knew at the time. I knew at the time he scanned the chocolate bar twice, but I couldn't see on the receipt whether he had done so or not until I got home and I saw it. Like this with the camera on my phone, I zoomed in, and yeah, I could read it properly. Yeah, just robbing bastard. So if you're from Bishop Auckland, Cocknell area, check your receipts and check your change when you go to the post office. You know, that's all I'll say. So yeah, hobby-wise, not a great deal going on. Bits in the end. Oh my God, there's another. I've definitely missed me. I'm gonna have to take 2 eye drops at once, maybe. One in each. Yeah, one in each. A lot of hobbying, little bits done with the doggo. Yes, you. Want to get away somewhere for a day. Probably make a little video about it, or a couple of uploads to Facebook or something. But yeah, my little rant about the corner shop's done now, or the post office rather. Yeah, that's all for now. No allotment on the horizon anymore, which I think I've talked about in the past. But yeah, looking forward to more of the World Championships. And that's all the hobby I've done or can do. Is still recording? It is still recording. I can't really see that problem. Yeah. So yeah, ciao for now, folks. I'll do another little video maybe in a month's time. See if I've got anything done hobby-wise. See how my eyesight is. Yeah. Ciao for now, folks.